welcome back to White Mountains today. This is going to be a great segment. I am on the set right now with Bob Cottrell of the Conway Public Library. What's your title? You're the curator of, and you are a historian, among many other things. And we're talking a little bit about New Hampshire folk life today, in specific maple syruping, maple sugaring, because that's the time of year that we're in. We've got these very cold nights now, and the days are finally starting to warm up a little bit. I understand it's been a late start to the maple sugaring season because it's been so cold. But you know, maple syruping, I guess it's not one of those things that you think has changed much over the years. There's really not a big modern contraption to harvest all the syrup like you see in farming. But it has changed, and we're looking at kind of the origins of maple sugaring here in New Hampshire. Yeah. Tell us about some of the things you've brought and the art of maple sugaring.
Sure. Well, first I want to go back to your point about changing. And one of the things is the basic process hasn't changed and really never will. So basically it's the idea of the time of the year, the weather being warm during the day and cold at night creates a natural process in the tree, and the sap starts rising. Yep. Falls at night, rises, falls. So that, if you put a hole in the tree, then the sap will come out. You collect that, you've got a lot of water, and you boil the water off, you evaporate. And what you're left with is, if you go to a certain point, you get syrup, you keep going, it dries out totally to be sugar. If you take the syrup and you boil that to a certain point and pour it out, it's soft candy. If you boil it longer and a higher temperature, pour it out, it becomes hard candy. If you boil it at a certain point, pour it out, stir it, it becomes cream. So you're not adding anything at all. There's no chemicals that you add or any special fancy things. It's just controlling the temperature and the evaporation to make all these range of products.
And we were talking off air that you learn by doing. You like to touch. So you've probably done and eaten every single one of those products that you just
Not only have we done that, but Tuesday night at the Conway Historical Society, the Salyards Museum, we're going to be doing it for the public.
No kidding.
And there'll be little mini sugaring off parties, so you get to taste all the different types of products.
So that's this Tuesday, Salyards Museum. What time?
March 10th, 7 o'clock.
And do they need, is there an entry fee? Do you have to you pay at the door?
Totally free.
Really?
The only thing we ask is the program's called Maple Sugar Memories. And what we're trying to do is what's called a pop-up museum. So we're going to bring some of our items from our museum collection. But there's a great history of people. There's a building that's still there today. It's actually a computer health design software place. But it used to be a tourist attraction where they did maple sugaring. And they had all kinds of demonstrations and stuff. We have photographs of the outside. We don't have any photographs of the inside. So somewhere out there, people went when they were kids, took pictures, and there must be pictures of people maple sugaring in their backyard or with the Lucy family or something like that. We would love to have those. We don't even need the photographs. We just want to scan them.
No kidding.
And add them to our collection.
Okay, and I'm sure a lot of people have general historic photos of all kinds that maybe the Conway Public Library hasn't seen, and you'd probably love to get scans of those as well.
We would love that. And one thing that's great about the Conway Public Library, not only as a Conway resident, can you come in and check out all the wonderful books we have about maple sugaring, but also online 24/7, 365 days of the year, you can check our photo collection online.
No kidding.
Yeah, we have thousands of photographs online.
So really modern. Everything's being cataloged digitally now and online. But the nice thing we were talking about before we came on the air is that you think of a library, you think of almost like a museum type institution where you go in and you browse and you touch, you look at books and stuff, but you guys actually are much more than that. You encourage touching beyond the book about learning by doing.
Exactly.
You've said your family does that. You guys are very big into dog sledding.
Yep.
And today we're talking about maple syruping. So tell us about some of the tools that you have here.
Well, I'll give you an example. Like for instance, we were talking about the basically once the weather starts changing and sort of a natural engine starts happening, the sap rises. So all you have to do is take the sap out of the tree. Okay.
Seems easy enough.
When the Native Americans would have done it, they would have done it with a stone that they sharpened, a stone axe. Then when the earliest settlers came, they replaced the stone axe with a metal axe, right? So then it was replaced with a drill which is, this is an example of a brace and bit. This is a modern one type you can buy today. And it's much easier to drill a hole with this than it is a stone axe, okay?
Yep.
Now what they do is you have a battery-powered drill, and you know, it's much quicker. You know, someday they'll probably be doing it with laser beams or something like that. So while the actual concept of taking the sap out of the tree hasn't changed, the tools have. So we show people how to use this. This is really cool kind of equipment. You turn it like that and drill holes. The other thing is there is a major change that's just occurred in a number of years. For all known history, people have always tapped the tree at a certain height and, you know, taken it out of the tree, the grown tree. The research has recently shown that you can do it from the saplings. You don't have to wait for the tree to get big. So if you imagine a vineyard where you have rows and rows and rows of vines that are about 4 feet high, right? That's what they're going to start doing. They're going to start growing maple trees, and when they get 3 or 4 feet high, they're going to cut the tops off them, hook them to plastic tubes, use vacuum tubing, suck all that sap to a central location, and use a evaporator to take out most of the water and then boil. And so it takes a lot less fuel and energy. In the old days, they would have had to go out in your snowshoes, you can see back here. And so it used to be that the camps were put out in the sugar woods. And then they had to collect all that. It takes about 40 gallons of sap to make a gallon of syrup. So the whole concept is weight to calorie ratio. So this is a bucket, and you can see, there we go, inside there's sugar.
Oh yeah, yep, you can see the, yep.
Okay, so let's say that this took 10 gallons of syrup, which is sticky, right? And this is dry sugar. Which would you rather carry from one place to another? One of these or 10 gallons of syrup?
One of those?
Then the gallon of syrup takes 40 gallons of sap. So this is the same calorie as 400 gallons of sap.
Wow.
So this is why they did it, because they needed, you know, the food value and the taste, of course. But it really was an essential kind of thing.
All right, we're talking with Bob Cottrell from the Conway Public Library about maple sugaring today. One of the ways that you can get in touch with New Hampshire folklife by actually literally getting in touch with it, as he does. You said your family does maple syrup. Do you maple syrup this way?
We do, yeah. We just do it as a hobby. We just, you know, do a little bit at a time. But we've done a lot of different types. One of the things going back, so once you make the hole, then you need to take it out of the tree to a bucket or some kind of collection system. And recently, about 5-10 years ago, they came out with microspiles. So for 50 years or 80 years, they've been using spiles that are this size, which is about 5/8 of an inch, just a little over half an inch. And they thought that was the most efficient. Then they found out that they could make tinier ones that the tree would heal faster. And so they were about 1/4 of the size of that. So there's a lot of scientific research going on in this. But there's also this tradition. This you might be familiar with. You can see this is called staghorn, staghorn sumac. When it grows, it kind of looks like horns, you know, antlers. If you feel it, it's got velvet, like the antlers.
It does feel like it,
Yeah, and this is what one of the things they used to do. It has a natural process that if you're to cut this off, small amount. Now take this and poke it through there. You see how the soft inside, the pith is comes out? So you take that out, you let that dry, and that is a natural straw or a spile that goes into the tree.
I can just haul it out a little bit.
Yeah, you can't do this with oak or walnut or maple. But you can, and you can't, if you cut into the sumac, no edible sap is going to come out. But if you cut into maple, birch, or spruce, boil it down, then you get very tasty drink. Spruce beer, which they called it, is interesting. It tastes like Moxie. And birch beer, or birch sap, or birch syrup, is a very light, delicate taste. So you have this range sort of between your soft drink and your hard drink. You know, and it's interesting. I always think about Native Americans or early settlers. Today, we go to a grocery store and we go to the bread aisle, we go to the ice cream place, we go to the meat place. They used to go through the woods and they say, oh, that tree is good for this, that tree is good for this. This tree here, the willow, that is good if I have a headache. You know, this over here is good if I want to poison my neighbor. You know, so they knew these things and they understood them. I mean, we drove up, we collected these today because we know what they look like.
That's great.
Now, in the winter.
How can people get more in touch with the Conway Public Library? Are there times they should visit? You mentioned the website. Give us some more information on the Conway Public Library. How should people get in touch?
Well, one of the things that we do is, thanks to the Robert and Dorothy Goldberg Foundation, we have a number of display cases, and we change the exhibits on a seasonal basis. So very soon, around the beginning of the spring, we will have a display kit which will have some of this stuff and a lot of the photographs and things from our collection. As I said, it's always open 24/7 through the website. And then if you call us at 447-5552, then I'd be happy to help you answer questions. If you have photographs you want to donate, or old spiles or old tools, you know, we'd love to share that with the community. And we are going to be opening a special exhibit later on at the Historical Society and the Public Library, because we work a lot in conjunction, on the 250th. Maple sugar will be a big part of it, but so will the history of skiing, so will the history of schools and churches in town, and so it's going to be a very major kind of project.
Genuine link to the past, a hands-on link to the past. Bob Cottrell from the Conway Public Library. And again, you guys are going to be busy throughout this year. As you mentioned, the 250th anniversary of Conway. So much to look back on, so much to celebrate, and you're going to be an integral part of that. So thank you very much for all that you do, and thanks for coming on and sharing your knowledge of maple sugaring now and the way it used to be as well. A Native American, I wouldn't have thought of maple syruping coming from the Native Americans, but just one more thing, one of the reasons why we have you on.